Thank you for joining Star Quality. Um, Today, I think I'm going to talk about how changing your inner world affects your outer world. Um, and what I mean by that is okay, if you are chaotic, your mind is scattered, your brain is scattered, you got so much going on up here, it reflects in your outer world. So, um, for example, I started meditation in 2019. And as I began to make that a daily routine, it started to reflect in my outer world. Things that I wanted to do for I think it was like 2 years prior, and I just had no idea how I was going to go about doing any of it. Um, for example, um, I was unhappy in a marriage, and I stated that before, but nothing changed. Like everything was still the same. Um, so after I started a daily meditation practice, um, it was like, I've mentioned this before in previous videos, but um, when I started meditation, at first it just started making me feel good on the outside as well as on the inside. But I started to feel good on the inside. Then I began to feel better on the outside. A lot of my aches and pains and ailments that I had going on just disappeared. I started getting more energy, and then I started getting these what I call hits or downloads as to how to go about um, releasing that marriage. Um, I was clueless about where to start to get a divorce, all of that. And as I started meditating more and more, things just started like popping up. Like anything I needed. One day I was sitting, scrolling the internet, and um, Google, as a matter of fact. And then it was like, get a divorce for certain amount of money and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So get a divorce online. I'm like, oh, how convenient. So I clicked on it. It was a very easy process. And I took a survey, and um, then a really nice gentleman called me, and we talked for a little bit, and then he um, let me know like how the process worked, what I needed to do, and so on and so forth. So um, after that point, it's like things just started falling in my lap. I started looking for a job. It was a little difficult at first, and because I hadn't worked in years, and so it was a little difficult. But I would get leads and think, oh, this is a good job, this is a job, and then something would go wrong, and then I would get another job, and then it's like uh, it, that wasn't right either. So I'm like, man, what is going on? So then I got a perfect job at a daycare that paid more than both of those jobs that I had already gotten but didn't work out. So I started to learn how to um, just kind of go with the flow. If something doesn't work out, don't panic, don't get upset, um, and because obviously God got something better. So, um, so I learned to just kind of go with the flow, not panic if something doesn't work out or something's being held up. Just relax. So, like I said, I got the highest paying job out of all three, and I was able to work long enough to get the exact amount of money I needed to um, pay for my divorce and move out. So, the more I kept meditating, the better my world started getting. So, once my inner world was, you know, basically, I guess you could say I was at peace. Um, it reflected in my outer world. So, um, I have another example. This is not a personal experience of mine, but I was talking to a friend of mine, and he did some years in federal prison. Now, I'm not going to say his name, I'm not going to tell all his business, but um, he did time in federal prison, and he was the type that took care of everyone, his family. He's got a heart of gold, and he did time in federal prison. And as he was in prison, he started to change his inner world. And once he got to looking at, um, what he was doing to land him there, um, and how it affected people and families and things of that nature, he started to direct his thought process to, when I get out, I'm not going back to the streets. I'm going to start my music thing. So when he started to focus more on more positive things and um, his basically his gifts, his talents, writing, and things of that nature, they had like different uh, crack laws or different laws that knocked time off his sentence, years off his sentence, actually. So he got out a couple years earlier than he was supposed to because he changed his inner world. And once his inner world began to change, which is, when I say your inner world, I mean your thought process, um, how um, your perspective on life, on your life. Once you change your perspective and make that first step, God's gonna, you know what I mean, make room for it, move things around, make things happen. So um he stayed to that, opened, started his own um record label, writing and, you know, writing and rhyming and, things that the using the gifts that God gave him. And he's just been getting blessings ever since he decided, I'm not going back to the streets. Yeah, it has been rough. I mean, and it does get like that sometimes. That's life. That's when you have to learn to have faith, trust, and just go with the flow and continue to stay on the path that God wants you on. So, um, yeah, so that's just another small example of how changing your inner world or your perspective reflects in your outer world. Things just, I mean, yeah, sometimes you'll struggle, but the right things at the right time just fall into your lap. You meet the right people, you know, just things you realize things aren't so bad. Like you tend to look at the glass more half full than rather than half empty. But I say all of that to say this: if you're going through struggles, I mean, because I've gone through struggles. I'm still going through struggles. I mean, we're all going to struggle at one point in time. But how you look at your situation determines how long you're going to stay in that situation. So if you can still be grateful and still have a cheerful heart, still giving, even though you may not have a lot, God's going to bless you with even more than you can imagine. And He's always going to make sure you're taken care of, even when, when you need it. Things may not come right when you want it or how you want it, but He's going to make sure you're taken care of. So I guess that's all for today um, on Star Quality. Um, like, share, and subscribe, and be blessed. Bye, guys. Till next time.